Hey guys, JJ Jerez, Meghan Angley, Jesse Montano, your favorite Guerilla Sports team here. After day one of camp, good to see the guys on ice. A lot of things happened today, a lot of bodies out there still, of course, this early in camp. But let's start out with the on-ice portion of things. Of course, we've got on ice, then we got some time in the locker room. So starting with the on-ice sessions, let's get into some things that we liked. What stood out to you guys as some things that really went well, things that we are maybe excited about for this season?
There was a clear contrast in Group 1 with the Nate McKinnon line and then the Roaring Twenties, just in terms of the speed and intensity that they took drills with. And you could tell that that was setting the tone for the rest of that group and pushed them. And someone from that group that I thought looked really confident and comfortable in their in their debut for camp was Sean Behrens. I thought that he looked confident in defending some of those matchups, making great stick defensive plays. And, it wasn't a perfect afternoon, but I loved the way that he held his own and was digging in deep against the Roaring Twenties line in particular. Just really spoke to the confidence he built in his time at DU playing on a big stage. It lended itself to this environment. It didn't seem like he was overwhelmed by the moment at all.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like there was a lot to look at when it came to the defensive group, right? And Cale Makar being separated from Devon Taves, getting a good look at Eric Brandstrom. Anything from the defense that you liked, or just what else did you like?
It was Brandstrom for me. He was a guy that there was 2 times in a row, and again, we don't have numbers on the back of the jersey, so especially for some of the new guys, it can be hard to identify him at first. But I went up to Meghan and I said, "Who is that?" I said, "That guy has made really strong plays against the McKinnon line 2 rushes in a row," and it was Brandstrom. So, that was a guy that there was no, bias into it of who he was or anything like that. He caught my eye because of his play. And then away from the defensive side, I thought Logan O'Connor was a real positive for today. There were multiple times where I saw him doing Logan O'Connor stuff, where, digging in, really just kind of being a pain to play against. Does not look like he, has lost any step after the surgery that ended his season last year. But no, exactly like you said, Eric Brandstrom for me was a standout in that first group. And then I just liked that Logan O'Connor looked like himself.
Yeah, absolutely. His mobility was there, which I kind of was questioning, but Jared Bednar mentioned that it's been a couple of months he's already been feeling good. So I guess we could rest assured we'll expect the same Logan O'Connor as always. But I love that whole line, right? I can't wait to see, as Meghan refers to it, the Roaring Twenties line. Miles Wood, Ross Colton, Logan O'Connor together. I think they can create a lot of havoc. We already saw it today. Miles Wood not really holding anything back as far as the physicality side of things. How about things we didn't like, guys? What stood out to you? Obviously, we're not going to be too negative here, but there's some people missing. There's some things that we'd still like to see out of this group.
Well, I think something I didn't like was not getting the opportunity to see how Oliver Shillington fits in this defense puzzle, just because I did like Brandstrom's day. I liked Calvin DeHaan's day in the Group 2 setting as well. And I liked what Sam Alinsky shared with us in the locker room about his summer a lot. And so there's just that missing piece in Shillington, who we know has his own unique strengths and his skating and his speed, that I really want to see how it stacks up. And we learned it's just because he's had some immigration issues and his gear did not make it yet. So he's still been participating in video sessions off ice, and got on the ice briefly with Lehkonen earlier today. So fortunately we should be seeing him soon, but that was perhaps the only negative.
Tough immigration day yesterday, and his gear didn't make it. So he went and tried new gear early on, skated with Lehkonen probably before all you guys got here to get on the ice in case it doesn't come tomorrow. And then he did an off-ice workout, and he was in on our in the second group's video session. So he didn't miss anything but some reps on the ice. He'll hit the ice tomorrow, whether his gear shows up or not. Hopefully it gets here. Still in France when last time I checked, so I'm not positive on that.
Yeah, interesting to hear that his gear's not here, so he tried other gear, right? And that's a detail that a lot of people would be like, oh, get over it, play in some different gear. But I think it's, for a hockey player, so used to routine and so used to their customs, that can really throw some things off more than you realize.
Well, and not only that, but it sounds like he was literally out there in head-to-toe brand new gear. So that's stiff everything. That's stiff gloves, stiff elbow pads. I mean, even your shin guards. There's only not a ton of movement in them, but there's everything, new skates. So I actually got here a little bit before camp started, so I saw him out there, And I mean, like, he wasn't like super active. He looked like a guy that was skating in all new gear. The other negative for me, like there was a couple guys that you could maybe say, yeah, it'd be nice to see a little bit more from them, but it's the first day of camp. The one for me, kind of like Meghan, it's Andre Pavel. 2 years in a row, he gets hurt. Sounds like he got hurt in the rookie tournament. He wasn't out there for either group today. And again, like that's a guy that I think is really more of a call-up type player that you're looking at. But again, we saw him in some reps last year. Meghan had him as a guy to watch at the rookie face-off last weekend. And it just, it's a bummer that we don't get to see him again this year at main camp because of an injury. Again, because that's not a guy necessarily that I'm saying, ooh, I wonder if he's, opening night roster top 6. No, but this is a guy that they're definitely looking at for NHL minutes and is definitely in the call-up conversation. You feel for him that 2 years in a row he can't get out here.
Right. Despite not having maybe a chance at making the NHL roster, you still kind of want to work up the coach's depth chart, right? So how about from the locker room portion? We got to talk to the guys. Obviously, the best part of being at training camp, catching up with some of these guys that we get very familiar with throughout the fall, winter, and spring. We have a whole season where they don't have to deal with us, and so bringing them back in, getting to talk to them again, what stood out to you guys as some of the conversations we got to have with the team?
I really liked Calvin DeHaan. He seems like he's going to be a great addition, and I wasn't even in the scrum, but it's so great to have Belmar back in that room as well. And just reflecting on the conversation with Malinsky specifically and the discussion of the roster battle, it was something that he recognized and embraced really directly in the locker room, and he talked about how in preparation for this year, it was one of the most challenging off seasons he's had in preparation and a lot of the hard work that he's put into getting stronger. And I think that is going to help set him apart in this incredibly difficult challenge that is ahead for him. But what I liked most is his calm resolve in how he talked about it. It didn't look like a guy who lacked confidence in himself, but it also felt very well placed and realistic in his expectations for himself.
Yeah, she brought up Calvin DeHaan, very nice guy. Talks super fast, but brings energy, was really excited and happy to talk to us.
Yeah, he was. He even made the joke when we first walked up. He's like, "You guys want to talk to me? Man, that doesn't happen very often." But no, I'm with you. I thought he was great, and he seems like a guy that we'll get in a little bit more to what Jared Bednar said, but looks like a guy that's here to compete. Mentioned the fact that this is a cup contending team, and that's something that he's chasing, and I really liked him. For me, the other guy that really stood out, we went over and talked to Casey Middlestat. He's great to talk to in the locker room overall, but I thought, he had a lot of really interesting stuff to say today.
Yeah, I think, after getting here last year and, getting to know the guys and kind of learning what this place was about, I was, definitely excited to get it done. And, I definitely told my agent, let's make this quicker rather than shorter or longer. So, very excited, and obviously nice to be back and, feel pretty comfortable heading into the year, so definitely excited.
What was your approach to the offseason that maybe you did a little differently than years past?
Yeah, I think the thing that stands out to me really is, these guys can just skate forever. You look at Nate and Mikko and Kale and Taser. I feel like, the conditioning side of it is so important, and, something that I thought I was already pretty good at until I tried chasing them around for a few days. So, that was probably my focus of the summer, and, I think I did well, and, here we are ready to go.
How excited are you to get a full season in under Jared Bednar, and where do you kind of hope to see growth in your game?
Yeah, I think, obviously, more than anything, I want to, really learn the system in depth, and I think, obviously, last year I learned a lot, but there's still so much to learn, and, I think Betsy really understands how I play, and when he talks to me, I feel like, he knows what he's talking about, and he's definitely correct. So, definitely excited to learn from him, and it was a good day one.
You talked about what a smart player you are, and we talked last year again about how it was taking some time to get this. So, how much more comfortable do you feel with this, coming into this new season and just some changes in the environment?
Yeah, I think, obviously just being here last year for whatever it was, 3 months, I think, it kind of helps you hit the ground running this year and, get to know some guys so I'm not walking into the locker room blind. And, so I think, honestly, that side of it more than anything is very important. And, got to know the system and felt pretty comfortable in it by the end of it. So, trying to pick up where we left off and, find that same feeling.
Jared mentioned yesterday that he might want to use you on the penalty kill a little bit. Is that an exciting challenge for you?
Yeah, I didn't know he said that, but news to me. But of course, I'm willing to play anywhere and wherever he wants me. I trust him. So, wherever he wants me to play, I'm happy to do it.
Including the fact, because you asked him about the contract negotiations and getting that done. And there's a couple things that he mentioned. One was he said, as soon as I showed up here and saw what these guys were about, I knew this was where I wanted to be, what I wanted to do. And he told us that he told his agent, yeah, get this done quick. Like, let's get this signed and let's move on. He's a guy that I'm really going to be watching closely this year. I think he understands the opportunity that he's got, especially here in the early part of the season where you do have a lot of players out of the lineup. While the team hopes that Cal Ritchie can maybe be a long-term 2C that they've drafted and developed. Right now, it's Casey Middlestat, and I think based on what we heard from him today, he does not plan on going anywhere and giving up that role. I did ask him about what Jared Bednar told us yesterday, that they wanted to give him maybe some more PK minutes, and I said, is that an exciting challenge? He goes, I didn't know that he said that. And then he went into saying, I want minutes, I want to be on the ice, and I want to contribute wherever I can. But again, it just shows kind of like what Meghan was talking about with Sam Malinsky, shows the right mindset. Not, what does Jared Bednar always say? Confident but not arrogant. I think that was what we saw from Casey Middlestat today.
I also liked when Casey Middlestat kind of said, in years past, I felt like I was in shape. I felt like I was fast until I came to this team, and I had to chase around Nathan MacKinnon. And then, so he particularly worked on his speed and I guess just his fitness over the offseason. I also thought Mikko Rantanen was interesting, right? Getting to talk to him a little bit about his contract negotiations. Of course, he was limited on what he was comfortable talking about.
Yeah, I think there's talks obviously with Mike Camp and the front office and it's just gonna say it's done when it's done and business will always take care of itself, and I'm just here to play hockey and get ready for another season and try to help my team win. So that's my goal. So yeah, I don't want to talk about it too much, like you probably understand, but it's because my job is to try to help this team win every game. Yeah, kind of like let it handle itself, obviously, we won the Stanley Cup here, so obviously I like the team, I like the city, I want to, if we win a Stanley Cup here, why would I want to leave, that's the only thing I want to say about it, so yeah, but we'll see, it's done when it's done.
But the quote where he said, I won a Stanley Cup here. Why would I want to go anywhere else? So I think we can all be confident that should be wrapping up at some point here soon, and he will definitely remain a Colorado Avalanche for a while. Anything else you guys want to throw out there about training camp from day one here?
No. Well, I was just, we got to talk to Jared Bednar, and he mentioned the fact that he felt like the first group started a little bit slower, and that was actually the more veteran-heavy group. Mm-hmm. But that he was really impressed with the energy the second group brought, especially because it is a lot of younger guys trying to make the roster that, and he didn't bury the guys in the first group or anything. He said it's the first day of camp, that's natural, but he made sure to call out the second group of guys were ready, they were prepared, and that they left a really positive impression on him. It feels a little bit like this is a team out to prove people wrong, and I know that maybe sounds silly to other people who aren't around the Avs every day because this is a perennial cup team. But I'll be honest, there was even some media members that we spoke with who were like, oh, I don't know, they're going to be, this might be a tougher season. This might be hard for them. The roster's not as good. This feels like a team with a little bit of a chip on its shoulder, and I think Jared Bednar's out to prove a little bit that we're still here. We are just as big of a threat to win with or without Gabe Landeskog and Val Nichushkin and Arturi Lehkonen that, they're here to play. And so there was a different vibe around the team today than I felt like in the last few years.
Yeah, I think that competition naturally brings it out. It's got to be tough for coach to manage teaching the new system and new structure to the new guys, also while evaluating individuals and seeing who stands out. So it felt like day one to me, right? And like you mentioned, a couple guys haven't really been talked to about their specific roles this season. So we'll see how that develops throughout the week. I'm sure we'll see a lot of things tighten up and get closer to detail attention.
Well, and I was going to say with that, I'd be willing to bet that we'll see, shifts a little bit in what they're asking Casey Middlestat to do this weekend and what they're asking Calvin Hahn to do this weekend as those roles and what they're expecting in the details, like you said, are a little bit more refined. I think that's going to be interesting to see how things change between today and Sunday.
There you have it, guys. That's our wrap-up from day one of training camp. We'll be back here tomorrow, bright and early, 9 o'clock again. And
Full pod coming tomorrow after camp. We'll be here at Family Sports doing a full podcast. And just as a reminder, we've got the calendars with us. Gave out a few today. If you guys are at training camp this weekend, come find any one of the three of us. We'll have the Guerilla Sports Avs calendar magnets, schedule magnets with us all weekend.
yeah, so hope to see some of you guys. We got a long weekend ahead still. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday there will be ice sessions. So lots to talk about, lots to get into, and a lot more player interviews for you guys as well. Get to know the team. So thanks for hanging out with us today. For Megan, Jesse, I'm JJ, Guerilla Sports.